Hey there, everyone. I'm Darieth Chisolm. Thanks so much for watching Hustle and Heart TV. You know, in this tax season, if you're tired of those big box companies or online way of doing taxes, then you need to meet John Pournaras. John calls himself the outrageous accountant, and he is such a joy to be around. Yes, he wears black leather ostrich boots and a big black stetson, and he's been in business for over 50 years. He's that guy who owns that old business on Main Street, USA. On Hustle and Heart TV, we feature business owners online and offline, new school and old school. And so John's the kind of guy that when you get to know him, you'll know about his family, he'll know about yours, your business, your tax, your accounting needs, just about everything. He's unafraid to ask any new question. And John has the IRS on speed dial, believe it or not. He's continuing to learn and implement new strategies and programs. And it was such a pleasure to talk to this business guy who's been around the block a couple of times, and he has no intentions of slowing down anytime soon. John's turning his attention now to the internet to develop a program called Tax Pro TV. You can learn about that and so much more on this episode of Hustle and Heart TV. You're watching Hustle and Heart TV, a video podcast show that spotlights expert advice from top money earners, successful entrepreneurs, superstar network marketers, and leading authorities in business and marketing. I'm Darieth Chisolm. I'm inviting you into my home, and I'm bridging my own personal success as an entrepreneur, MLMer, news anchor, and now video podcast show host to help you leverage more tools and resources, make more money, and generate more ways to take action, become a rock star, and love your journey. All right, John, I am so happy to be here in your office in Ambridge. You've been here for a long time providing tax services for people.
Yes, we have, and I'll tell you, I'm so excited to be sitting next to you.
Oh, well, thank you. It does my heart good to know that we've got you on Hustle and Heart TV.
Oh, I have told everyone about this.
Great, good. Hey, let's start off just talking a little bit about your history. I mean, to be providing tax services now for over 60 years now?
65 years.
65 years and still in the business.
Yes.
You know, Hustle and Heart TV, we like to focus on up and coming entrepreneurs, those that have been around for some time. 65 years in the tax services industry. What has kept you?
Well, my father started this in 1950. He was an industrial insurance agent back in the Depression, where he would go around and collect a quarter from everybody to keep their life insurance intact. And people started handing him 1040 forms and saying, do you know anything about that? Well, he dove into it and started doing people's taxes, all his life insurance clients. And then he said, well, you'll have to come to the house and we'll finish it up at the house. Well, after my father took over the living room and the kitchen, he started moving into the bedroom, and my mother said, it's time for you to get a brick and mortar. So my father started out in a office on 11th Street, and we were there for 12 years, and a gentleman came and offered me a building for sale, and once we negotiated the building, I bought the building, and we've been here since 1976.
That is great.
Yeah. And
it tells a great story about how you have taken a business that your father started and continue to provide services here in Ambridge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ambridge, I mean, you know, as we think about communities here in the Pittsburgh area, it's seen its better days.
Oh, yes.
But
absolutely.
you know, how do you maintain a business that is literally on the main street of Ambridge in a community that unfortunately is not necessarily thriving?
Well, a lot of my clients in the 70s, we used to have 2 floors of tax preparers because it was a lot of hustle back then. And, you know, the mills were in operating, and there were a lot of businesses that were just in full bloom. We had J.C. Penney's on the corner. We had Sears Roebuck next door. When the malls came into play, those stores moved out. When the steel mills closed down, a lot of my clients went all over the United States looking for work. They still email me or send overnight packages to me for us to do their taxes. And it's wonderful because I have long conversations with them on the phone.
So you still have clients from many, many, many years ago that don't live here that are still sending you
Correct.
Business.
Out of 14 different states.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, when you've been in business for a long time and still have that longevity and that loyal relationship with a client, that's awesome. I just think that when it talks about the level of service and value that you offer, that speaks volumes. What would you tell someone? How would you tell someone to conduct business in order to make sure that you have customers for a lifetime?
Well, wow, I could probably talk for days on that, but I'll try to give it to you in a nutshell. I always tell people build a fence around your clientele, not just any fence, an iron fence. And what you do is to give them great service, and you have to have great values to do that. When you offer value to people, uh, they just they love you. And like when people watch your show, they look for content, they look for the value, and they look for a way to blossom on internet TV, and it's a wonderful opportunity. So when I always deal with small entrepreneurs, and one of the things they get from me than they get from anyone else is I coach them. I did a coaching session last night with a contractor, and he said, "How do I increase my business?" Well, knowing that he works on a bid basis, he always has to delve in with the uh, competition of bids. And I said, offer them something in the way that you do business, offer them the next thing. I said most contractors will come in, they'll look at the job, they'll bid on the job, they won't bid on anything else. But like McDonald's says, when you buy a fish sandwich, they'll say, "Do you want fries with that?" And that is an opportune way to upsell. So we talk to we do things a lot differently than putting numbers into a computer screen. We coach, we train. New clients, when they come in, we always ask them to bring their last 2 or 3 years. And the reason is not because I'm looking for mistakes the other tax preparer did. I want to see the patterns that they're developing, that they're handing their financial histories over to the Internal Revenue. And we want them going into the proper path. And with that, we can tell them, hey, we may need to adjust your withholding. Why would you want to wait until April to get $6,000 when you could have that $6,000 in your pocket all year round? So, the more you have, the more you can spend on things.
Yeah,
So,
and that's great that you, as you point out, that you're doing more than just preparing their taxes.
correct.
You're coaching them on better money management, ways to handle taxes, perhaps things going into the future and not making those mistakes. What's the number one mistake or challenge that you see with small business owners or entrepreneurs as it relates to their taxes in that we're in tax season?
Well, most people wait until the end of the year before they come and see me. Uh, and that's just the nature of the beast most of the time. When they get fed up or their tax preparer has moved on, we get a lot of that. My tax preparer was just found dead on his desk, and I said, "Oh, I have to start eating healthy. I have to do things right." And they will come in, and when we talk to them about some of the things they could be doing, you see the light goes on in their head. And with what I tell them, and I never ever embellish anything because, if you always tell the truth, you never have to worry about what you say. And with the IRS, if you know the rules, which has become more difficult these days, if you have somebody that knows the rules and knows how to interpret those rules the correct way, you never lose.
Very good point. You've got a lot of information you can share with us as it relates to tax preparation and
Oh,
being in
yes.
business for entrepreneurs, and we're going to dive into that when we
Okay.
come back. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll look at that when we come back.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you looking for a way to advertise your business, product, or service? Why not do it here on Hustle and Heart TV? We'd be happy to send you our media kit for show sponsorship and advertising. Reach out to us at info@dariethchisholm.com or give us a call at 412-692-1600 and we'll send you a media kit with all the information.
Hi, I'm John Pournaras of the John Pournaras Agency in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. One of my biggest pet peeves is when the IRS rips you off. We've been in business since 1950, and for 65 years, we have been committed into saving you money on your taxes. We keep the IRS off your back and out of your pocket. You can visit us on our website at johnpournarasagency.com. Find us on Facebook at Facebook John Pournaras Agency for money-saving tips, and you can call us at 724-266-4100 to book an appointment now.
Maybe your manuscript has been rejected for the 10th time. Maybe you're already published, but sales are almost non-existent. The defeated feeling is the same. It's time to get it done right. Rochelle Carter, the author of The 7-Step Guide to Entrepreneurship, has the answers that will turn your career around. Rochelle leads you through the powerful 7 steps, guiding you as you become a successful author and entrepreneur. Build your writing talents into a business, a platform that can sell you and everything you write, giving you what every writer wants, a continuing money flow. Rochelle Carter shares the tried and true, as well as the new, most effective, smart, and affordable steps to plan your publication and sell more books. To be a successful professional writer, the 7-Step Guide to Entrepreneurship is a must-read, a guide you will return to time and time again.
Hi, I'm Roberto Clemente Jr., and you're watching Hustle and Heart TV.
You know, as entrepreneurs, small business owners, clearly there's a lot that you have to think about, right?
Sure.
You're wearing a ton of hats, and money management and being prepared with taxes is certainly one that you can't afford not to wear.
Right.
What, though, would you encourage someone who says, listen, I think I can handle all of these things, and then they miss or they mess up on their taxes?
Right.
Clearly, you tell them to come and see you.
Correct.
But in the stages of where people are in business, whether they're just getting started or they're in that growth period, at what point should they seriously start considering tax advice and tax services?
Well, you know, today it's very, very difficult because you know, the IRS has talked about a 20% reduction in staff. So if you go to call the IRS, you will not be put into a queue. At some point in time, the phone call will end and you'll have to call back. I've noticed that, and I always keep an eye on the IRS because their trends abound all the time. One of the things that I'm seeing a lot this year is their inability to give information to people, so they put it up on their website. And that's great for people that have internet access, but there's a lot of people that have no internet access at all. And so they're kept in the dark. And the biggest thing that I do is I don't close. The IRS is open all year round, so am I. Because of they're open all year round. So what I generally tell people is go onto my website if you have internet access and watch my videos. I have very informative videos on my website. Some are a little corny, but they're meant to be corny because sometimes you have to laugh at yourself to make a point. So I always tell people keep all receipts. And today, the problem with receipts is they fade over time. So I tell them make photocopies of the receipts, put it in a binder, just as if you were a first-time homeowner. I tell all my first-time homeowners, keep track of all your expenses, because what you ate 2 weeks ago, you won't remember. And 10 years from now, you won't remember every tack, every nail, every garden hose, every paint job that you put into the house, so that you can write that off as an expense towards what your gain is. And, you know, it's sometimes difficult because people are busy.
People are busy.
Oh, yes.
And you've been quite busy, speaking of being busy.
Oh, my God,
I mean,
yes.
all these years in business, where are you going in the next couple of years? What's your plan? It
Well,
seems that you'd be looking for an exit strategy, but I understand that you're actually got some new projects on your plate.
Yes, I do. After this year, my preparers and I are going to sit for our enrolled agents examination so that we can practice before the IRS and tax court. With that being said, we are going to move into tax resolution for people that owe large amounts of money to the IRS. So I've started that already on some cases. I had an industrial company that owed $12,000 to the IRS. Well, once I looked at their history, and they've never had a problem with the IRS prior to that, I wrote one letter, and the IRS abated their $12,000. Now, do you think that guy's ever going to go find another tax preparer? I don't think so. So, uh, like I said, when you know the rules, and I tell everyone, it's easy to do your taxes. Heck, even the IRS has a do your tax return on our site. And you have to be careful sometimes because they're not going to guide you into one of the biggest issues that we have this year is the Affordable Care Act. And people are going to want to look at that bottom line. They want to look at that refund, and they want to sometimes embellish their tax return. And that's when they wind up in audit. So there's a lot of things that entrepreneurs can do. And one of the things that I'm very proud to say is that, I know people who have met Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was one of the greatest basketball players that I've seen in my time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, numerous other people. But Michael is not playing basketball anymore. But Michael still has a coach. And that speaks loudly for Michael because we all need coaches. And that's why I set myself up as a business coach. And we train our folks into better ways in doing things. And, it's just as easy as saying, well, I bought this widget and I think this widget will last 5 years. Well, if you get anything to last 5 years today, it's going to be a miracle. So we'll talk to them about the type of depreciation that they use. Because if it's not going to last 5 years, then you may want to use double declining balance, where you take most of your depreciation up front and it whittles down the end. All depreciation ends up in the same spot. It's just whether you're going to use it now or use it later.
So your ability as a now business coach allows you to work with your clients a little bit differently than a traditional tax preparer
Sure.
or tax services provider.
Sure.
You can, because there's some gray lines in terms of what you can offer in terms of advice on that end, but as a coach, it's a little bit different and you can look more into their business and
Sure.
dissect it and then help them decide on future plans as it relates to their money
Exactly.
and taxes. So
I watched the video with my mastermind coach, Becky Hour, and she said, know your clients. And when she told me that, I was smiling from ear to ear. I know most of all of my clients, and because we work so closely with our clients that they can call us in May and June. I had a guy that called me from his vacation. Can I write this off? And I told him certain steps that he had to do to make that happen. And he was elated. He said, well, I have a client here. And I said, you're going to need to meet with him. If you meet with him, your whole vacation's paid for.
yep, you got to know when to take those tax breaks.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Tax Pro.
Tax Pro TV is a dream that I had about 7 years ago. Tax Pro, as I start to get older, I'm going to continue to do this until I have no mind or until the IRS tells me I need to stop. But at some point in time, and I'm going to give myself another 10 years as my exit strategy. I was hoping that my son would take over the business, but he doesn't like doing what I do, so God bless him. But Tax Pro TV is because I want to reach, my message to help people is so important that I want to reach more entrepreneurs and give them my secrets, basically. So I'm learning to monetize all my secrets, and I'm going to do that with Tax Pro TV. We're still in the finishing stages of trying to figure out how we're going to tier this and to what stature people are going to get, level they're going to get in on. But Tax Pro TV is exactly what is missing today. And I'm so glad that I can spearhead this because there's a lot of tax advice out there. And, there's CPAs in California who offer this, and there's people in Pittsburgh who offer this, but this is going to be unlike anything you've ever seen.
So people will be able to access your advice via the web, and they'll be able to watch a series of videos.
Right.
Now, you know, it's interesting because someone who has been in business for a very long time and could clearly decide to just walk away and retire is now looking at getting into the internet and in a way that really leverages your time and your talent.
Sure.
But doing it where you're actually starting in the beginning stages.
Right.
You got a lot of energy. Where do you get that from?
Well, I think I live right, and I take vitamins, and I stay away from these energy drinks that I won't mention their names on camera, but that are harmful for you. But I think it's just because I make sure that I sleep right, I make sure that I exercise correctly, and you know, I'm a caretaker with my mother. She's 85, and she keeps me going all the time. So every day before we leave the house, she always says, "Did I leave my curling iron on?" So I have to go back and check her curling iron.
That's great. That's good. I want to talk a little bit more about ways to leverage, and as you talk about monetization, which is so very important, and as I'm sure you're busy coaching some of your clients around ways that they should be finding additional streams of income and monetizing what they do. So we'll pick that up when we come back.
Okay.
All right. So what steps have you taken lately to take your business to a whole nother level? Or are you stuck or stalled? I'd love to hear from you. So send me an email at info@dariethchisholm.com, or you can like me on Facebook at Darieth Chisolm or on Twitter at Darieth Chisolm, and share your journey. Ask me a question, give me a topic or two, or a potential show guest. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Hey, it's Tam Michelle with Tie the Knot Tuesday here at the Pittsburgh Marriott City Center, where we take care of all of your event and meeting needs brilliantly. And today we're going to talk about your wedding favors. I know a lot of people are already thinking that their photo booth is their favor, but if you're thinking of leaving something behind that you'd like your guests to take away with you, think about this. Don't leave a little trinket. Most people will have a few drinks and leave it behind. Edible favors are a great alternative. Whether it's a cookie, whether it's a small bottle of champagne, anything small and edible is the best solution. People will take it or they'll partake in it that night. For your wedding and event needs, like us on Facebook at the Pittsburgh Marriott City Center and call us at 412-918-1373 and ask for me, Tam Michelle. Keep smiling.
This is not a hotel. It's an idea that travel should be brilliant. Because it's not only about where you're staying, it's about where you're going. The promise of spaces far beyond your imagination. We're here to advance the art of hosting, so you can make the most of your journey. Pittsburgh Marriott City Center. Travel brilliantly.
So we should always be thinking about ways to monetize things, and certainly looking at developing multiple streams of income in business. And as you work and coach with people, I would imagine that once you take a look at a spreadsheet and you can see where things are, that you start to say, listen, is there any way that you can create another stream of income? Don't give up what you're doing, but let's see if there's an opportunity to do that. How often does that come up when you're speaking with your clients? And what are, really, do most people take that advice, or do they continue trying to hammer away at the business that they're in?
You'd be surprised how many people do take that advice, and they're stuck as to what business that they should get into. I always tell them, look for new and interesting trends that are coming out. And they said, well, how do you do that? And I said, all you have to do is go on Facebook. They'll tell you what's trending. I said, you know, if you look at last week, I think it was Kanye West was doing an album with Paul McCartney.
Don't you love it? He's talking about Kanye West, isn't that like?
Yeah.
I love it.
And,
sorry, go ahead.
And people didn't know who Paul McCartney was. I thought that was a hoot. And, you know, everybody says, wow, you know, he's going to make Paul McCartney a star. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. But
anyway, but things that are trending, yeah.
Things that are trending. Becky talked about marketing calendars. Becky talked about a lot of ways that you can reach your clients. I'm at the point where I can email my clients all their documents, even their tax returns. Of course, it's encrypted. They have to enter a password to be able to open that. So because so many email accounts are hacked today, I try to stay on top of the industry as well as entrepreneurs should do. They should always stay on top of their business. It may keep you up at night, but like most of the times, one of my good friends, Jim Palmer, the newsletter guru, says, gross is for vanity, net is for sanity.
Absolutely.
And that is very
for
powerful.
Sleep too.
Yeah, it's for sleep
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, definitely.
So ways they can do that is learn the new products that are coming out. Find what your heart tells you to do. And that's the biggest hard tip I can give. If you love what you're doing, do it. People said, how can you love what you're doing? Don't you just hate the IRS? I said, well, you know, the IRS is the Treasury Department for the government. And if we don't have a Treasury Department, we won't have a government. So I think people should pay their fair taxes, but I don't think they should overpay their taxes. Corporations do that all the time. They get away with not paying taxes. And, you know, people say, well, how can I do that? Well, unfortunately, it would be nice unless you embellish your return, you're going to get caught. Look at Alphonse Capone. They couldn't get him any other way, so they got him for income tax evasion. There are, you know, today is the year, because of the Affordable Care Act, everybody has to file a tax return because Health and Human Services is going to share your information with 37 federal agencies, including NASA, which I have to scratch my head at times because nobody is going to grow up to be an astronaut. But with all of your health care being shared by people, it's scary. It's a scary time.
So basically make sure that your tax files are in place, that you're
Exactly.
filing, and that you're looking for the opportunity to make additional streams of income.
Exactly.
You have to, because nowadays, between, you know, the expenses of things going, you've got to think about
Sure.
doing that. And as you point out, finding things that are trending, that are popular,
Right.
it certainly makes sense to be in business on the internet these days in some capacity,
Sure.
but not always.
Right.
You know, clearly, it makes, not every business is one that you can monetize over the internet.
Correct.
And so what would you say to someone who's watching who has a traditional brick and mortar and perhaps are looking for a way to bring in some additional income and it's not on the internet?
Okay. Well, as I said to the contractor last night, do you want fries with that? You can look for ways to upsell your business. In my business, we do taxes, we do accounting, we have notary services. I got on with talking to the director of PennDOT, which was a real difficult thing to do these days because they pay their people big money to keep them from talking to you. But one of the things is that I said, you know, we do things that are redundant. Now, can you give us an easier way to do that? And the director said, I'm going to send you a list of contractors. Okay, but I have enough contractors I deal with. She said, John, you will be able to do online messenger service. I said, sweet, this is great. So now I can not only do people's title transfers, I can print them out a registration card, give them a plate with their sticker on it. So we're always evolving into how to do the job better, quicker, faster, and easier.
Best message.
Yes.
How to do the job better, faster,
and
quicker,
easier.
and easier.
And profitable.
And profitable. Makes sense. Hope that if you have an opportunity to have a pen and paper in hand, that you take that one down, because that's a good one.
That's a
That's a
record
tweetable one, right?
That's a tweetable one.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure your dad would be proud.
I hope so. I think he smiles on me a lot. I lost my father in 2006 with Alzheimer's, and I'll tell you what, he was my first coach and my best coach.
I can imagine that. That would be something else. So you've already shared with us what happens for you in the next 10 years.
Yep.
You're going to be quite busy.
I'm going to be quite
imagine that.
busy.
You've got a lot of energy, a lot of spunk. You see Tax Pro TV taking off, as well
Yes.
as managing and shifting your business in a different direction. Leave us with two things.
Okay.
That's always our highlight that we like to do, is to focus on just two tips that you can provide to people around hustling, working hard, and a heart tip around living your passion or loving what you do?
Well, my first hustle tip is to keep working hard, but work smart. You can go through a wall by pounding on it. That's working hard. But if you get a tool that will go through the wall, that's working smarter. So always find a way to work a little smarter than what you're doing. If you have to read, read. Books are going out of style, but there is so much information. Every December I read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, just because I want to remind myself of things. I just read Becky's book and she autographed it for me. Chock full of information. And there are thousands of books that are out there written by some of the best coaches in the world. And if you can't afford to pay somebody $15,000 a year, spend $7 on Amazon and buy their book. That is priceless compared to some of the information that you're getting on the internet. Not all of it's correct.
You can share with us your heart tip.
Love what you do. When you love what you do, it shines through everything. And I've seen the entrepreneurs that you have done on Hustle and Heart TV. And I'll tell you, I make sure that I have a half an hour every day, and I revisit every show that you do.
Oh, that makes my heart feel good. Thank you.
Because of the messages that you give and the people that you are interviewing. Charlie Batch is a great friend of mine, and I was brokenhearted when he left the Steelers, but now he's doing something that he loves, you know, Batch for Kids. That is awesome. I mean, he's found another niche to grow into. So don't try to get everybody. At first, I wanted to be everybody's tax preparer, and then I said, well, that's kind of insane. I don't want to be everyone's tax preparer because then I have a whole lot of issues to deal with. I try to pick niches in my work, and I work with them because then I become the trusted authority and the specialist for that crew.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, oh my goodness, what a pleasure to spend the day with you. I learned a lot from you, and you know, it does my heart good to know that folks who have big dreams are still dreaming about doing big things, even in their 60s or 70s. If you'd like more information about John Pournaras, you can go out to my website at hustleandhearttv.com. You can search his name and you'll find a show notes page with a link out to his website and other incredible information that he has for you. So John has done something very special for my viewers. He's giving $50 off tax services. You need to use the code name Darieth and you'll save $50 off of your tax services, and that is good until April 1st, so I hope you'll jump all over it and take advantage of the special offer that he's giving to Hustle and Heart TV viewers.
One place for all your insurance needs? Of course. See State Farm Agent Steve Chris. Call or stop by today.
Bad things happen to good people. Accidents, serious injuries, or even death. When they do, families call Frank Walker Law, where we fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Hard-hitting representation when you need it the most. A real law firm getting real results.
The Pink House, a 100-year-old attraction filled with the sweet, yummy smell of award-winning Wagner's chocolate. This unique boutique is unlike any candy shop you've ever experienced. The indulgent aroma delights you as you wander from room to room, and you'll discover Wagner's is more than just chocolate. Shop for your own candy-making supplies. Visit the gift shop, book your next party, and be a kid again in the fun ice cream parlor, where they serve hot and cold drinks and Hershey's ice cream. The signature chocolates are handmade with care and attention to detail. You'll be amazed at the favorite offerings that keep generations returning to this family-owned gym. Chocolate-covered pretzels and Twinkies, caramel apples, homemade biscotti, and so much more. This family-friendly experience is worth the stop in Finleyville to experience a 37-year-old tradition. Or order online at thepinkhouse.biz and give a call to 724-348-2238.
Hello, my name is Nikki Narvaez-Mans, and I am the founder and owner of Nikki's Magic Wand. Nikki's Magic Wand is a cosmetic tool that was designed to retrieve all of your makeup from small tubes and containers, and I'll see you on the next episode of Hustle and Heart TV.